Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, we'll continue what we are learning in the holy letters of the Baal Hatanya. We are learning letter number 13. And the Shir is L'schos Refuah Shalema Verhinde Basta Berachim. We are learning this letter that's Marav Tufcha Asher Tufanta L'Reecha. That the pasuk is, the Tillim says that how vast and awesome is your kindness that you put away for those that are in awe of you. The Holy Baal Hatanya says over here that it does not say bireach. It doesn't say that he put this kindness in them. It says he put it away for them. And this, to understand this whole letter in its entirety, is to understand the depth of the purpose of life. Now, of course, when we say the purpose of life, there are multiple purposes that are brought down in chassidic philosophy. There's chapter 36 in Tanya, which we spoke many times, to make a dwelling place down here in this world. And there's the reason of all the reasons, which is compassion, to be merachim. And there's teva hatoiv lahetiv, which is the teva, the nature of goodness, is to give goodness. And all of these reasons are essentially just descriptions of the reason for the creation of the world. Because, as we've said in the past, a few thousand discourses from the Baal Hatanya, almost every one, he says, in order to understand this pasuk, we need to begin to understand why did the soul come into this world. The soul is a part of God. The soul came into the body for a purpose. And God created the world for a purpose. So when we say God created the world, the soul, which is a part of God, came into the body. It's the same idea. Creation and coming into the body. Creation of the body, creation of the world, and creation of the body, and the soul coming in, investing itself in that body. And this is an enormous thing, because if somebody thinks that we can come and ask, what's the purpose of the world? And we would just say a slogan, and we will capture the whole entire majesty of this world, the grandeur of everything in this world. It's an impossible feat. Even these words, to make a dwelling place for God in this earth. There was not a Farbrengen from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, there was not a time that he spoke that he did not speak about these words. Everything he said was premised on and was an extrapolation of the words in chapter 36 of Tanya, which is the purpose of the world is to make a dwelling place in this world. A world that's foreign, a world where the energies of God, the energies of our soul, are not fully aware of their source. And this is a very, very deep concept on its own, where consciousness becomes conscious of the unconscious. very, very, very deep concept that demands tremendous meditation to understand the paradox of life, not to resolve the paradox, but to understand the paradox of life, to understand the premise of this letter. The premise of this letter is, if I'm born a daytime person, if I'm born a tzaddik, if I was given the gift of light, the gift of free flow energy, everything is easy in my life, spiritually, physically, then am I really alive at all? Or is it on some level that I'm not really alive? And that begs the question, what does it mean to be alive? What is life in this world? Life in this world. Choose life. It's a person to choose life. To choose life means to have confusion or to be free from confusion. That is the choice. Choice to be free from confusion. But when a person is born with confusion, and all the time they have to choose from their inner core what they really want, to choose between vanilla ice cream and pistachio ice cream is no choice at all. That is like the game Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. That is the raffle. It is a lottery. Choice, free choice only applies to the core. Either I'm choosing because of my ego is choosing, my trapped version of myself, which means I'm being forced to choose, or I'm giving up my choice to lottery, or I'm choosing from deep within, which is what do I, the core of me, choose. And that always chooses life. So free choice means to be free from the ego. At this moment, I choose to be free from the ego, and I choose to choose what I truly want. That's as simple and as majestic and as paradoxical as choice gets. To be free from confusion. So someone who's born, who's free from confusion, has no choice at all. If they have no choice at all, they're not really living. Because if there's no freedom to create, if there's no interaction, then there is just light. And if you are just a light on this world, you may have a purpose. But that purpose is not associated directly with life. And this is the awesome point that he wants to bring out in this letter. That day and night become one in twilight. And it is a give and take relationship. God wants a give and take relationship with him. And if you do not need God, or if you are a representative fully of God's energy in this world, then you are not fully in relationship with God. And this is the ultimate paradox, the ultimate birth of the Torah, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. What do I do to a person? So to speak, God says, what do I do to a person who has fulfilled all of his tests? He's been given the light, but he's made something of the light. Do I give him children that are perfect? Because if they're perfect, then are they truly alive? Have they truly interacted with me? Do I give them children that are not perfect? Because if they are not perfect, then are they really making the right choice? Or do I prod them and push them and give them children that are not perfect and allow them through their own interactions with each other, allow them the nucleotic, the tzofa and l'reecha, what I put away for those, do I give them this goodness that they have to uncover themselves? As when you're playing an arcade game, it is the level the winning the level, which has made you stronger, which allows you to uncover the treasure of the next level, and allows you the muscles, the strength. It's like the little butterfly that was sitting in a cocoon for months. And then the boy came and tried to cut away the cocoon to help the butterfly. But the muscles, the juice, the muscle and the strength that was needed in the butterfly to cultivate its wings was impossible to come about, because it needed to eat away and bite away and push away at that cocoon to develop the muscles, to develop wings, so the juice and the liquid and the life force should be able to go into the wings and create muscles, which will allow the butterfly to fly. So when the boy cut away at the cocoon, and he released the butterfly from its shackles, but he deprived the butterfly of the gift of life, because the butterfly was never able to fly. This is the ultimate paradox of struggle and light, of shadow and light, night and day. To understand the interactivity, surface revealed of inner, intimate. To understand this in its entirety, the scaleless, the masculine and feminine elements, all the time, to realize that the beauty of life is an interaction, an inter-inclusion, a real peace, which means noyach labriyos, I'm peaceful with everyone around me because I see myself as a cohesive whole. Because God, before He created the world, Hashem echad, God was one, but you didn't appreciate that oneness. Then He created His name, which is already a reflection of that oneness. And then He created multiple names. When there's darkness, there's multiple energies. There's multiple parts of the world that give out. The Torah gives out God's intelligence. That's one name. The world gets God's compassion. It's another name. World gets God's kindness. It's another name. And every one of the spheres, every one of the energies of God is a different name. But the truth is, each name is really one with the other. When we understand this in its entirety, when you look at yourself and you see all your talents, and you're an artist, and you're also a builder, and you're also a carpenter, and you're also an architect, those names are just kinuyim. They are not real names. They are just names for an activity that you're doing. But if you do that activity the whole day, you get caught up with the name, and you're caught up with that persona. But the ultimate point is Shmoy Echad, to discover that really you have one name. That is the name that you make for yourself. That is the name, not that you're given, that's the name that you're going to make for yourself in this world. That's your name. In that day, God will have one, just like His oneness, all the energies came from Him. So too, we will discover that all of the names are really one name. All of the purposes of the world are all one. They're just different reflections, different angles. When we walk, we have 6 angles to walk in. Those are 6 spheres. We could go right, left, up and down. These are just 6 angles, 6 different angles. There's 3D, there's 6D. We have different angles of life, but they're all one name. It's all starts from the core. But when we unite all these 6 energies together and they become one, they fuse into one body, just like we are one when we are born. But that's meaningless because we're a vegetable, but we cultivate that oneness. And the goal of Yemoisa Mashiach will be a vibrancy where not 5% of the brain is used, but 100%, not 5% of the heart. where we will become conscious of our every single cell in our body. Right now, we have a limited consciousness. We are operating from the most confused state of man, where our intelligence and our fantasy takes up and robs us of our life, robs us of presence, robs us of who we are. That is the tiny fragment of thinking. But our thoughts go to sleep at night, and the superpower of the brain, the Eson Neshama, the part of us that's beyond anything we can imagine. It pumps our blood, billions and trillions of cells. It does all these things unconsciously. And for us, imagine your own mind would become conscious of this, your own ears, your own eyes. But to truly become conscious, you see, your eyes only see outward. But in the Messianic era, through our work of this Gullus, our eyes will see inward as well. Not because the eyes will be able to see inward, but because the eyes will be so connected to the ears, and the ears so connected to the brain, and the brain so connected to the hands and to the feet and to every organ, that all the organs will not lose their individuality, but they will do what the other can do. And that is what it means. Yeh Hashem echad u'shmo echad. That the name, which is the organ, which is the function, the ability, the time and space that allows for that energy, all those names will become one. And then we will understand what it means that before God created the world, he was one. After, every single thing will become one, will become really unified. And in this letter, he shares with us this idea that it is through our avoida today, through masculine getting along with feminine, truly getting along, which means escalalus, which means that I wake up within me, the feminine. And over here, he's talking about Beshama, he's talking about the negative, the person who is more introvert, the person who's more private, the person who's naturally not going to splurge his money. And he's begging him to go against his nature, to understand that true Judaism, true purpose of the world is to integrate all organs, to understand that everything is for hiskalus, everything is for integration, inter-inclusion. Everything is, ultimately speaking, everything is about giving. So when we say, ultimately, what is God's name? God's name is Yudke Vovke or Yudke Yudke. Ekye, God's name is the vibration of life. The vibration of life is the only thing we know about God. Mokrachayim, the ebb and flow, the death of yesterday, of the previous moment, and the ability and the miracle of this moment right now. And that is the most giving thing in the world. So whether you're introvert or extrovert, whether you're deeply private because you want to hold on to your gifts and be modest and humble, ultimately speaking, everything must mimic and partner with the Creator, which is giving. And God is in a space of giving all the time. And that's what he's extolling. He's asking the people with this letter, that even if you find yourself, don't use it as a theory. It's very easy to learn a chassidic class. But then afterwards, keep your money in your bank account. Keep your compassion inside. But to really go against your nature, to actually do it, whether your nature is to give, then you must give some more. And if your nature is not to give, we push that nature is to make real creativity. And what is the reward of that? The reward of that is the unleashing of the core of your soul. The reward is that you have pushed yourself. You are a partner with the creation of God, where you are not fully aware that you're God. You're not fully aware that you possess the core of who you are, but nevertheless you go against your nature. Your limited nature becomes infinite. And then you usher in the Messianic era. You usher in that type of idea where in the Messianic era, you're a finite person, but you will have infinite capabilities. You're an individualistic person, but you will connect with everyone and everything on a most deeper, unconscious way. The unconscious will become conscious. How does that happen? When we do it now. Because you're conscious, you're limited. You're limited in how you want to worship God. You just want to give a tiny amount. You want to hold on to your security. But he says over here, if you go against, our nation was not built on buildings and countries. We have no connection to business. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov and Yosef were billionaires, each and every one of them, without ever making a product of building a country. They actually did it because they gave compassion. And this is the secret of our identity. And that's what he says. When we go in that space, we get soiv of kalam. When we get God in a hovering space, And that is the most awesome revelation. And to understand that now and do it, not as a theory, is something that brings an unlimited kindness into this world.